You are listening to The Final Score with Stevie Fly.
What's up, guys? New intro for The Final Score. Hope you guys like that. We still got some stuff to work out on it, the bugs to get out of it. But it is Tuesday night, January 13th, 2026. Haven't done a live in a while, but we wanted to do one tonight with of course, we were planning on doing one anyway with the wild card weekend recap, which I think, and you'll hear me say it, I've said it time and time again, wild card weekend is my favorite weekend of NFL football. I mean, you have the most amount of games in the playoffs, and usually they're all really competitive, and they were this weekend except for one, and we'll get to all of those in a few minutes. Hope everybody's doing well. A little warm tonight in Alaska over here in the big metropolis of Alaska, but I'll take it because it seems like we're going to get some really cold weather coming up Thursday, coming up maybe Sunday too. But you can never tell in North Carolina the way the weather is. So, like I said, the plan tonight was to do our main story was going to be wild card weekend recap, but somebody had other plans for us, and that's what happens in the world of sports. And it was my team, Pittsburgh Steelers. After their and we'll get to that game, our thoughts on that game in a few minutes. But after the loss last night to the Houston Texans in the wild card game, 30-6, Mike Tomlin decides to step down as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. After 19 seasons, guys, this guy decides to step down. And guys, I will say this. I've been a defender of Tomlin for a while, up until a couple years ago, because, and nothing against Tomlin as a coach or a person, because he was there 19 years. They never had a losing record. That's great. That is great. And at first, that was like, up until about 2 or 3 years ago, I was like, okay, he's got a winning record again. It's time to move on. And I think he saw that too. If you watched him in his press conference after the game last night, the guy looked zapped. And he made a few comments. Forgot what he said about actions speak louder than words or something like that, or something like that. That's not a direct quote. But said he had pretty much decided last night, slept on it, and made the decision today, called a players-only meeting with the Steelers team and told him his plans to step down. Now, he is still under contract to the Steelers. I don't think, in my opinion, he'll coach this year or next season. I think he'll do some TV and go from there. Take kind of the Sean Payton view of it. Take a year or two off, and then reset. Because I'm sure it was getting to him. All the talk around Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area about and being in the crowd, hearing the crowd saying "Fire Tomlin," chant "Fire Tomlin." I'm sure it's not the first time he's heard it, but it was more well known. You could tell it more this year than you could in years past. Was he a good coach? Yeah, he was a good coach. He made 2 Super Bowls. Won one. 9 years. Here's his record. Regular season, 193, 114, and 2. If you count playoffs, 201, 126, and 2. So over 200 wins. You don't see a lot of coaches get that. But ultimately, what gets it here is 7 playoffs in a row, first round exit. He hasn't won a playoff game in 7 years. You have to go back all the way to the AFC Championship game against New England. Was it 2016? That I want to say that's right. I may be wrong on that. But all these games too, guys, he has a stretch of games that were playoff games that weren't close. They were lost by double digits. Last night was a disaster. I mean, it was close until it was a close game until about 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But the thing is, and I'll get into more of that when we talk about that, but now Pittsburgh has to do something they don't do often. They have to look for a head coach. Tomlin was the third coach that the Steelers had since 1969. So this will be the fourth coach in 57 years. 4 coaches. That some teams like the Cleveland Browns have 4 coaches in 2 years. And yeah, I threw shade right there because Cleveland Browns, worst organization in football. I'll say it. I ain't scared to say it. They know it. So the Rooneys, I was shocked in a way, but then again I wasn't, because there'd been talk for a couple of weeks that he was gonna leave. He was TV deal, but I kept hearing he's got one more year on his contract. I kept hearing especially after last week winning the division, the Rooneys would not fire him because he wanted the division. So I figured if anything was going to happen, he was going to have to step down. And last night, I'll tell you, watching that press conference last night, he looked tired. He looked sapped. He just looked like, but you think about that, it's been a long year. They were 10-7 in the regular season, but it's been a long year for him. And like I said, the last 3 years have been not good, not what would be held to Steelers standards. And what I mean by this is a lot of people started talking about it. You start celebrating just getting over 500, just being mediocre, going out in the first round. That's not how Steelers fans want. Steelers fans want playoff wins. Steelers fans want Super Bowls. I mean, you got 6 Super Bowls. Yes, he's responsible for one of them, but I don't know many teams and people out there. There's no doubt Tomlin's a great guy. I've never met the man in my life, but there's no doubt from everybody says Tomlin's a great guy. That's fine. And some of these journalists holding the Steelers, like saying, yeah, well, you might be careful what you wish for. Well, anytime you have a job that you don't see an improvement in year after year, you're just doing the same thing, going through the motions. For long, you're going to want to get out of there. If you got a chance to do something different, you're going to want to get out of there. You're going to need a change of scenery, a reset, a refresh, recharge your batteries. And that's what Tomlin's probably going to do. I don't think he's going to take a job anywhere. And there was a lot of talk, and wouldn't this be interesting if with John Harbaugh being fired from the Ravens last week, what if John Harbaugh ends up in Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin ends up in Baltimore? And they asked Steve Biscotti, the Ravens owner, about that. And he said that he laughed about it. He said, holy crap. And he said, we'd only do that if John takes the job in Pittsburgh. But then he said, I don't know if you guys saw it last week, Harbaugh does the little, not Harbaugh, but Tomlin did the little puff his chest and blew the kiss. He said, yeah, I think that kind of defeated the chances of him coming to us with that. And I mean, Tomlin does that, not just Ravens games, I don't think. I've seen him do it before. It wasn't just that. But so where do we go from here? Where does Pittsburgh go from here? Coach search. There's a lot of people out there. Like we said, John Harbaugh, as strange as it sounds, that was mentioned earlier in the week. if Tomlin would step back, would John Harbaugh be in the mix? And there was nobody saying no. But you look at some of the coaches out there. One that intrigues me a lot, guys. Brian Flores. He was just coming off being defensive coordinator for the Vikings. The Vikings had a great defense this year. Offense sucked. The defense was really good. He hold on, Robert. I'll give you a second. I'm not ignoring you. He has been in Pittsburgh. Tomlin hired him after the whole Miami deal, and he was like an assistant defensive coordinator, linebackers coach. And he was there for a year, but he left after that for greener pastures. So that's intriguing to me. I'm going to get to Robert's comment right quick. Ryan Clark put his little 2 cents on it. What do you think about what the race baiting is? I'm sick of that guy. Yeah, I saw what Ryan Clark said about, Ryan Clark does that. I'm not going to really get into what he's talking about. Ryan Clark, if you've watched Ryan Clark, you see what he says all the time. How he and honestly, I think he is that way. He may be that way, and I think he does it for attention too. Ryan Clark, a former Pittsburgh Steeler. This wasn't about race. This was about Tomlin just was tired. I don't think Tomlin has anything against Pittsburgh. Tomlin's not the first coach to have fans chant to be fired in NFL history, white or black. So that never entered my mind until, even after Clark said it, I just brushed that off. So he can do his little thing like he wants to do over there. That's fine. Who was it? Jim Harbaugh said, I don't know if you heard the comment Jim Harbaugh said the other day after Ryan Clark made a comment about the Chargers, said once he gets canned at ESPN, I've got a job open for a water boy. So Ryan Clark is not making friends, and I think he likes that aura that he puts out there for that, because he didn't start off that way. But anyway, so some more. Clint Kubiak is one name that keeps coming up. Robert Saleh. What about Robert Saleh? He was head coach with the Jets. I think he's D-coordinator with the 49ers right now. I wouldn't mind seeing him there. Even Mike McCarthy's name's been brought up. Now that's interesting because Aaron Rodgers' future's up in the air. Will he retire? Will he come back to Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh doesn't really have a quarterback except Mason Rudolph and Will Howard are the two quarterbacks on the roster right now. So would Aaron Rodgers want to come back? I don't know. The way he talked last night, and plus now, it's kind of doubtful now for Aaron Rodgers to be coming back, because Tomlin was the one that brought him there, and he's a big Tomlin guy. So I don't know if we'll see Aaron Rodgers back. So Pittsburgh may be looking for another quarterback next year. Heels Bevan. Hey, Stevie, long time no see. Watching the Hurricanes on ESPN Plus here. Let's go Canes. What's up, dude? Hope the Hurricanes win tonight. What's the score right now? Give us a score update. So yeah, that's the big story today. This is big. And you look at it right now, Zach Taylor is the only returning coach in the AFC North from the Bengals, and probably should have been fired this year. So, and the longest tenured coach with one team now, Andy Reid, 13 years with the Chiefs. So, Canes game just got started. So, just give us updates as we go. And guys, here's my thought. This is where I'm going to leave it. I don't have anything against Tomlin. The guy was there for 19 years with my favorite team. I supported Tomlin. Did I think he made the right decisions all the time? No. Did I think here in the last 3 years that he was making good decisions? No. I didn't like the staff, some of the staff he brought in. I think he has problems with turning over responsibilities to certain people. What do I think happens now? I think they need to do a complete reset of the coaching staff. Arthur Smith, and I'll get into this in a little while. Arthur Smith got to go. How this guy has been entertaining head coaching interviews with anybody, I don't know. They must be totally desperate because that guy, horrible. And Terrell Austin, I'm sorry, you need to go too. We need some young, fresh blood in Pittsburgh to get this thing back going the way it should be again. I hope that's the way it goes. So Tomlin, my hat's off to you, buddy. Thank you for what you did in Pittsburgh. Thank you for getting number 6 for us, or helping us get number 6. And I will never say I'm not. And look, do I think it was time? Yes. And I'm not going to. I'm through with it after this. I'm not going to say the same thing over again. Do I think it was time? Yes. Am I going to jump for joy that Tom's gone? No, because you never know. I just know there when you have to go through. And granted, he came in with a good situation with a good quarterback there with Ben. And I said this the day Ben retired. I hope we don't have the same amount of problems finding a quarterback in the same length of time that we did between Bradshaw and Ben, because I'm liable to be dead and gone before the Steelers get back to the promised land again. So that's it, Tomlin. Enjoy whatever you do. I know you're watching right now. Yeah, I know you're watching right now, but enjoy whatever you decide to do this year. And thank you. Like I said, thank you for all you did for the Steelers. All right. Wildcard weekend. One of my former players, I've seen him a couple of times the last week. Austin Brinkley. Aaron Rodgers doesn't need another beatdown like he took last night. Can't be getting fun, get cracked like that at 42. No. And Houston's defense was all over him. I think it might be over for Rodgers, especially now with Tomlin leaving. I think Rodgers is done. We'll see though. Would Pittsburgh take him back another year if he wanted to come back? Yeah, I think they would because this year the draft class it was panned out to be at first. So you've got really one quarterback that's everybody thinks is ready, and he's going to go first. Mendoza's going to go to the Raiders unless somebody makes a heck of a deal with the Raiders, and I don't think that's going to happen. Wild card weekend, man, my favorite weekend of NFL football because it's so many games, most games any playoff weekend, and I mean all the games are usually crazy. And this was no exception this year. We had one of the craziest playoff games I've ever seen in my 52 years of being on this earth. And we'll get to that. But first up, let's go to Charlotte. To the Carolina Panthers hosting the LA Rams. I've had no problem. San Diego with the Chargers. I had a hard time for a long time calling them the LA Chargers, but with the Rams, I've had no problem when they left from St. Louis to go to Rams, probably because they've been to LA before. So no problem there. Hill says, Steve, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fanatic, was hoping Panthers would have won this past weekend, but wasn't in the cards for the Panthers. No, it wasn't. But let me tell you guys something. For a team that came in backing into the playoffs, having lost their last game, having to depend on another team in their division to win, to get in, the Panthers played a hell of a game. Didn't start off so well. I mean, they jump up 14-0. Rams jump all over 14-0. It looks like I was thinking at first, excuse me, the last time, it was probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Carolina hosted the Rams. Carolina got the upset. Rainy day at Charlotte. Carolina hung right with them. It was back and forth. And I was thinking maybe this is going to be the same way. But after the way that game started, I was like, no, here we go. Puka Nacua. How good is that guy? Is this guy the best wide receiver in the NFL? He's got to be up there. He's got to be up there in the argument for best wide receiver in the NFL. Justin Jefferson had no fault of his own because of his quarterback play. Justin Jefferson had an off year, but man, Puka can really, I mean, what can this guy do? And Stafford got to be the MVP right now. I think Stafford's the MVP of the NFL this year. At the age he's at, and to keep doing the things he's doing, to go through the injuries and to perform like he did. I mean, 304 yards, 3 TDs, and a pick. And then throw that pass at the end of the game. Wow. I mean, pass to Parkinson with less than a minute left. But my thing was, what was the deal with the Panthers defender? Just put a hand up. Jump up and put your hands up. He just went up and grabbed it from him, and that was it. But yeah, and let me tell you guys something. Today, the Panthers picked up Bryce Young's 5th-year option, and I think that was a smart move of the Panthers. As bad as this kid was a couple of years ago, he's progressively got better. He really showed up. He really showed up in this game. He threw a pick, but that was not his fault. The receiver stopped on the route and showed he was tough too. No bigger than he is. Showed how tough he was. 264 yards, 1 TD, and we talked about the pick, but he also had a rushing TD. And he commanded the game, guys. He knew when. He looked comfortable. There's been several games I've watched with him. He did not look comfortable in the pocket. He looked really, really comfortable in the pocket, and he knew when to get out, when to scramble. When the blitz came up the middle, he got to the outside. He was really, really impressive on the run, throwing the ball. The Panthers just come up a little short. Panthers get some more weapons, a couple more weapons, and the defense can get a little bit better. Panthers might be a team to watch out for. I like the way the Panthers played the other day. Unfortunately, they can't come up short. 34-31. Like I said, Stafford throws a game-winning touchdown pass. 19 seconds left, but with about less than a minute ago, 19 yards. Play of the game, though, Puka Nacua breaking up at a possible interception by the Panthers. That would have changed everything. He went up and decided he knew he wasn't going to catch it, and he went up and played defensive back. And that was the difference in the game right there. But Rams move on. Young, man, like I said, Bryce Young, good job, Carolina, picking up the 5th-year option. I think if you start building around him, you're going to be okay. These are Saturday games right here, guys. You had 2 games on Saturday. The nightcap on Saturday was on Amazon Prime. And look, let me tell you guys something. I am not a fan. And I know you got to move. Get with the program. This is what everything's going to. Blah, blah, blah. Screw that. I don't have to get with the program. This game was on Amazon Prime. I'm not a fan of these games being on streaming services. Like the Netflix Christmas Day game. You got people out there that don't, especially the older people. Some of them don't do the streaming stuff. And they want to watch football. And they don't understand, well, why can't I watch this? Well, You don't have Amazon Prime. I've got it. I'm not a freaking. I'm not a freaking. I'm not a freaking fan of it. Okay, Austin, I got you right here, bud. Not playoff related, but give me your take on Dart's first year in New York. Promising. Austin, I think he's going to be okay. He's got to learn to protect himself. It's fine to take off and run the ball, but you're not playing college anymore. You're playing these guys. These guys are huge. Even some of the defensive backs, the safeties are huge. And they're going to unload on you. If you're a quarterback, they're going to unload on you if they get a chance. And I know it was that way in college, but he could get away with that a little bit in college. All these guys in the pros don't mess with him. He needs to learn to slide. I think another thing that set him back when he was really starting to get comfortable. And he got comfortable. He was good at the end of the year too. Scatterbo getting injured hurt him because I think they were developing some chemistry there. When Scatterbo got hurt, that it took him a while to get back straight. And I know he suffered an injury too, but he's got to lay. Yeah, I think he'll be okay. I think they've got a good quarterback there. There's something to build off of there. But yeah, when Scatterbo gets back, oh gosh, who was the wide receiver for the Giants that got hurt towards ACL that was playing so good? Jesus, I can't think of his name, but he gets those weapons back and he learns to control himself a little bit. And look, I like the enthusiasm. I like you want to run, you want to take off, you want to do stuff like that. You want to get as many yards as you can, but you got to be smart. You got to think about, all right, how important am I to this team? I can't get hurt. I can't get a concussion. You got to think about that, but I think he'll be okay. All right, so the Bears and the Packers, and this is a rematch from a few weeks ago that the Packers blew in overtime, 22-16, that cost them the division, and pretty much is the reason they're playing on the road in Chicago. Bears, what can you say about the Bears this year? Ben Johnson's done a great job with them. Tomlin, why couldn't you have stepped down last year? And and I'll get into that again with another quarterback. So Ben Johnson would have been in the mix for the Pittsburgh job. This game started off not like I thought. I actually went to a friend's house and was watching this game. Packers dominated the Bears through 3 quarters. I left my friend's house at the end of the third quarter. You ask, why did I leave the third quarter? Well, I had to work the next morning early, so I had to get back home and my plan was cut the TV on and see how bad the Packers ended up beating. But I made the comment to my friend before I left. It was 21-3, and it was in the third quarter. And I said, it's probably over, but you got to watch the Bears. Bears are a comeback team. There's no, they don't have, you got Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams likes to come back. And when I get home, it took about 25 minutes to get home. By the time I got home, it's 21-16. And here we go. So I'm like, oh, boy, here we go again. Packers score. It's 27-16. They missed the extra point. And I'm like, okay, that's it. Nope. Bears come down the field, score again. The Packers, I don't know if they've got rid of that kicker yet, but I want to say, did he miss 2 field goals? I may be wrong on that. I think they said 7 points that he took off the board because he missed 2 field goals and an extra point. Difference in the game right there. Caleb Williams takes the Bears down the field, and I want to say it was like, 20 seconds left? Hold on. 1:43. Why did I say 20 seconds? Maybe it was 20 seconds after the 2-minute warning. I'll go with that. Gets a 25-yard touchdown pass to DJ Moore, former Carolina Panther, and gets the win 31-27. And guys, this was a battle here between two young quarterbacks, and that you'll probably see battling in this NFC North for years. Jordan Love coming back off that concussion, 24 for 46, 323 yards, 4 TDs, no picks. Caleb Williams, 24 for 48, 361 yards, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions. Play calling for the Packers was not good in that second half. Everything you did in the first half, you didn't do it. You took the foot off the gas. And fumbles, turnovers. But, I mean, they were on both teams, but at the wrong time for the Packers. Fumbles lost. Fumbles lost for the Packers. 4 fumbles lost. Crazy. Crazy way to lose that game. But the Packers lose. And let me tell you, I'm going to get to you in a minute, Heels. I'm going to get to your comment. One of the guys that surprised me this year that's come out of, I mean, he's a rookie, and has really been clutch for the Bears. He didn't score a touchdown on in this game, but tight end Colston Loveland, 8 catches, 137 yards, and clutch. He made the big catches. Excuse me. He made the big catches. This guy's going to be special. Ben Johnson has got he's going to, and look, this is one of the teams that I questioned a couple weeks ago going into the playoffs was the Bears. Their inexperienced team and their young quarterback. They put that to rest, at least for this game, to me, this night. That comeback that wasn't an inexperienced quarterback that made that. I've had my doubts. Yeah, he's strange. He paints his fingernails, whatever. But the dude led that team. Great job by the Bears. Bears move on. All right, let's get to 2 comments. Heo says, my only team's playing now with my Carolina Hurricanes, UNC basketball, UNC ice hockey fans page, UNC women's basketball. Can't wait for the season to start for my Carolina baseball team, Stevie. Yeah, I know. ECU baseball is what I pull for. So ECU baseball should be pretty good this year. Keith Hall, my old buddy, Boy Wonders here. Topic, when is Will Howard going to be on the center for Pittsburgh? I was just talking about that a couple hours ago with somebody on the phone. And I was saying I want to see him get a chance. He may not work out, but give him a chance and see. I like his size. And what do we got to lose next year? I mean, if Rodgers doesn't come back, you want Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph is not going to be your quarterback for the future. He might be a bridge quarterback right now, but he's not going to be your quarterback of the future anymore. Thanks for the likes, Heels, and Keith. I just think that Will Howard, just give him a chance. I mean, nothing. It can't hurt. But I'm right there with you, Keith. Will Howard, give him a chance to play a little bit, see where he goes. All right, so then we get to the Sunday games. We start off with a good one. Buffalo, second in the AFC East this year. Surprise, surprise. Them and Josh Allen travel to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence on a hot streak. I think they won 8 in a row. Won the AFC South. Come back and got that over the Texans. This game started out, just like you thought it would, back and forth. And Jacksonville's defense was playing great. But you knew before long Josh Allen was going to break through, and he did. I mean, Jacksonville slowed down Cook. Cook was the leading rusher in the NFL this year. Jacksonville slowed him down. So Josh Allen puts his Superman cape on, beat up in the first half. 2 times evaluated in the blue tent. Comes back, makes a hell of a run. That was probably the changing point of the game. And then gets the game-winning touchdown with a minute left in the game? Minute 4 seconds left in the game. Josh Allen was, here's the thing what everybody's talking about. And I'm not buying into it that they're the favorites to win the AFC right now. It's possible, but I'm not buying into it when you with these other teams that are out there. They're strong defensive teams. Josh Allen is looking at this playoff lineup. Guess who's not there? Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and the Chiefs aren't there. My Achilles heel for the last 3 or 4 years is not there anymore. My window is closing to get a Super Bowl. I'm not as young as I used to be anymore. So Josh Allen, he does it every game. You don't see Josh Allen take plays off or anything like that. He does everything he can to make things happen. Now he's got a couple wide receivers out. I hate to see that, but they got this game. They get to win 27-24 with Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence, as good as he played during the regular season, looked shaky to start this game. And then he settled down. Late in the third quarter, the fourth quarter, he settled down. 20 after we we didn't get. It was a defensive game for 3 quarters. I think you had, what was it, 13-10 at the end of the third quarter. Then both teams scored 2 touchdowns, 28 combined points in the fourth quarter. But the Bills get the win and they move on. So one division champion down. But yeah, Buffalo. I love Josh Allen. He's one of my favorite players. There's another one of my favorite players outside of Pittsburgh that we'll talk about in a few minutes too. But Josh Allen outside of Pittsburgh is probably my favorite player in the NFL. All right, Heels. Stevie, my Dallas Cowboys, my Carolina football teams had bad season last year. Hopefully better season coming this fall. Maybe. In all honesty, I hope neither one of them have a good season. I'm sorry. Just kidding with you, Heels. Just got to throw shade at you. All right, so the second game on Sunday, the San Francisco 49ers, they travel to Philly to take on the defending Super Bowl champions, Philadelphia Eagles. And, man, what a game this was. All these wild card games so far, guys, were like, geez, just great. This was why I love NFL football, watching these games this weekend. And this one was no different. Eagles offense. What's the problem? Saquon can't get on track. They're up and down. Jalen Hurts, he's not lighting it up. A.J. Brown, probably gone after what happened Sunday. But they still looked like they were going to run away with this game. Second quarter, I was like, here we go. That defense is strong. And then 49ers get a blow, a big blow. George Kittle gets hurt. And now that's another one of my favorite players. He goes out with an Achilles, found out he tore his Achilles. So that's not good. And I know I can never say the fullback's name for the 49ers. Jaguzik, whatever his name, I'm sorry. He's number 44. He went in at halftime and Kittle was still sitting there and, said the fullback got teared up. And Kittle looked at him and he said, hey, man, I'm hurt. I'm not dead. I'll be back. He said, go win this game. And I don't know if it was get one for the Kittler speech or what, but it worked. The game-changing play of this game. Jennings, the wide receiver, on a reverse pass to Christian McCaffrey for 29 yards for a touchdown. After that, it was a different ball game. 49ers defense was fired up. They got a 3-and-out. And it just momentum shifted. Game-winning touchdown. Brock Purdy throws a 4-yard pass to McCaffrey with 2:54 left. But then you were like, okay, Philadelphia's got the ball. They got a chance. They go down the field a little ways, but they don't capitalize. 49ers get the win. And so that means two new teams in the Super Bowl this year. With Chiefs didn't make the playoffs. Philly's out. So the defending champion, there will be no back-to-back. And let me say that Hurts did not look good, guys. 20 for 35, 168 yards, and a touchdown, but he didn't make the plays. What happened to the Hurts? Is he hurt? What happened to the Hurts from the Super Bowl last year? Barkley finishes with over 100 yards rushing, but all for naught. 49ers get the win 23-19. Eagles get rid of their offensive coordinator, which everybody was calling for after that game. Kevin Patullo, after one season, fired today. So then we had the last game of the night. It was on NBC. Mike Vrabel and the Patriots taking on Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. This is where the game started getting not good. This was a nasty game. Herbert, I've said for the last few years, and I did not pick them to win this game. And I said why. Herbert was going to have to prove to me that he could win one. He didn't get any help from his offensive line because the Patriots pounded him. I give him credit. He's tough. He took a beating. And kept getting up. Harbaugh, you need to get your boy some help. Drake May, he was okay. I froze up. Hold on, guys. I'm coming right back if it's froze up on me. There we go. Drake May was okay. Didn't have the best game, but he did okay. He went 17 for 29, 268, one TD, and an interception. So, yeah, this game was ugly. 16-3, Patriots win. Yeah, 49ers game was wild. Yeah, it was wild. He was Vrabel. What can I say? The guys, that's another coach. Like I said, I wish Tomlin would have left it last year so we had a shot at Vrabel. Because Vrabel's done a hell of a job. Did you see him headbutt one of his players and got blood on his lip? Busted his lip open. I thought that was hilarious. But that's him. So then we go to Monday night game. And the Steelers versus the Texans. Texans on a hot streak. I think they were was it 9 in a row? Something like that. They're on a win streak. So I said it to several people. The only chance we have is that the cold weather will get to Houston. Because their defense is number one defense in the NFL. Our offense is not good. So that was my worry. And early on, we get going. Early possessions, we move up and down the field. But we can't get anything but field goals. Defense, my hat's off to the defense. And I don't know if it was the defense as much as it was C.J. Stroud not being good. C.J. Stroud he was a detriment to the Texans yesterday. They wanted to spite him. And Pittsburgh was getting turnovers. They tried this flea flicker. And when you have a flea flicker, I thought the object was to get rid of it quickly. C.J. Stroud held on to it. I mean, you had to hold on to see if the guy's not open, you got to go. You got to either run or you got to throw it away. And he didn't. He got hit from behind. Ball comes loose. Pittsburgh gets it. At the 21-yard line, we get a field goal. It's 7-6 at the half. End of the third quarter, 10-6, Houston. And then the snowball starts. Houston gets a field goal. And with about 8 minutes left, that's when the ball started churning. Aaron Rodgers gets sacked, fumbles. A big defensive lineman for Houston takes it in for a touchdown. We punt, 3-and-out punt. Houston breaks a long run for a touchdown. Get the ball back. First play, pick 6. So 23 points in the fourth quarter for Houston. And that's it. 30-6. Pittsburgh goes down. Tomlin loses his 7th in a row, which led to what happened today. Offense is terrible, dude. Our offense was terrible. Like I said, Arthur Smith, our offensive coordinator, how he's got an interview with any NFL team, how he's got an interview with a college team, if he does, I don't know. You got a tight end that you paid big money, Pat Freiermuth, that produces 3 targets. 3 targets. And most of them at the end of the game. Made an 18-yard catch in double coverage. Probably didn't throw to him again after that. Jonnu Smith, the tight end they brought in this year. Biggest disappointment. He needs to go. I don't know if Arthur Smith's in love with him or what, but how this guy keeps getting touches and targets when that should go to Freiermuth, I don't know. Freiermuth, I would not blame you. I hope you don't, but I would not blame you if you asked for a trade. Because it's ridiculous. I'm just, you know, it was terrible. It's terrible. And let me tell you this, Terrell Austin, you defense coordinator, you're not off the hook. We've got the highest paid defense in the NFL and we're 26th ranked. Something's wrong there too. And I know Cam Hayward came out last night. Well, coaches coach and players play, but you can't. And I understand that. You're right. But this is the same old crap going over and over again. Every year we do the same thing. I'm ready for Pittsburgh to get back to what it used to be. I'm ready for and everybody I heard talk about the crowd. I listen to Pittsburgh Sports Radio today. I usually do every Monday after the game. And today, the people that were there were talking about how electric the crowd was until the fourth quarter. The crowd was there. The crowd was into it. I'm ready for the crowd to have something to cheer for besides mediocrity. I mean, are we supposed to be satisfied? You know, like I said earlier, some of the sports writers, some of the journalists on TV, on ESPN and NFL Network talking about, well, Mike Tomlin will get hired somewhere else. quick. I was like, yeah, of course he will. He's a good coach. He is a good coach. I think it just got stale in Pittsburgh. I think his time was up. You don't see many coaches, especially now in this day and time, stay there for 19 years. I mean, Chuck Noll, 69 to 91. He was there for 22 years, but that was a different era. Coaches are on a shorter leash this day and time. Pittsburgh, I'll give you now. You talk about the Rooneys. The Rooneys are owners that hire you, and as long as you do your job, they stay out of it. They let you make the decisions. So who's going to be next? Who knows? I think about it. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. That's an impressive threesome of coaches right there. And I think Tomlin did pass Chuck Noll with wins the other day. Maybe not, probably regular season, but maybe not playoff wins. But yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. It's not too much to ask for. Get it back to what we used to be. Talking to a good friend of mine today, Gaddis Hodges, my mentor, talking about watching Chris Canty this morning on ESPN, talking about the Steelers and the Cowboys aren't championship franchises anymore. And Chris Canty was right. I don't agree with a lot of what Chris Canty said, but he was right. They need to get back to that. They need a change. Shake it up. So hopefully that's coming. Hill says the Canes game scoreless after the first. Okay, appreciate the updates, dude. Appreciate you being here. So let's look at next week's games. So let's see. Saturday's games. My dog's she's ready for me to get off here. You hear her over there. Bills at Broncos start the day off 4:30. Broncos, the number 1 seed, had the week off last week. Good defense. Bo Nix at quarterback. So why does this make me want to pick the Bills in this game? Why I want to pick the Bills? The story's there, guys. The story's there for the Bills to win this year. This may be it. This may be one of the last chances Josh Allen will get. Sorry, Henry Ford. I'm going with the Bills upsetting the Broncos Saturday. Even with missing two of the receivers. I'm going with them. Then in that night game, 49ers at Seahawks. Rematch of a few weeks ago. Seahawks dominated the 49ers. Held them to 3 points. I'm not so sure about Sam Darnold in the playoffs. He hasn't shown me anything. Just like I told you, Drake May showed well, not as great performance, but a good performance in the playoff. Josh Herbert, you didn't prove it to me. Caleb Williams, you proved it to me. So let me see if Sam Darnold can prove it to me. And I'm sorry. Sorry, Kool-Aid. He knows who I'm talking about if he's listening. I'm picking the 49ers to upset the Seahawks. So 2 games on Saturday, 2 upsets I'm picking. People think I'm crazy. All right, so Sunday. Here's my Sunday. And I know what they're trying to do. They want to get a game in prime time. But if you're going to do that, why don't you just start one game at 4 and then the other game do like a regular NBC game at 8 o'clock? Why are you going with the first game at 3, the second game at 6:30? And here's something I haven't seen. I hadn't noticed till right now. All 4 networks are getting one game apiece. Wow. So CBS, which usually carries the AFC games, gets one game, gets the Bills and Broncos. Fox gets the 49ers and Seahawks. The first game on Sunday, the Texans at the Patriots, ESPN/ABC. I did not know that. But anyway, that's cool. As long as everybody can see it. It's not streaming. So Texans and the Patriots. Here's what. You got 2 young quarterbacks. You got 2 good defenses. I'm going Drake May and the Patriots and Mike Vrabel to beat the Texans. It's going to be close. It's going to probably be a low-scoring game, but I've got the Patriots over the Texans. I know some people will think, as much as I dislike the Patriots over the years, but Mike Vrabel is a really good coach. I love Mike Vrabel. I love his enthusiasm. I love the way he coaches. Mike Vrabel and the Patriots get it done. They go to the AFC Championship. Then you've got the last game, the Rams at the Bears, Sunday at 6:30 on NBC. What a game this should be. Because these 2 offenses are explosive. And the Bears can explode at any time. No lead is safe. So I still got to go with the Rams, though. Rams get the upset. I guess you would call it an upset. They're on the road at Chicago. I'm picking the Rams to beat the Bears. Puka and company, just too much for that Bears defense, and they get the win. So that would set up the NFC Championship game being the 49ers and the Rams, AFC being the Bills and the Patriots. So guess that is like old school right there. Especially the Rams and the 49ers. Remember back in the day, Joe Montana, Roger Craig, Jerry Rice, John Taylor, Brent Jones, and Ronnie Lott versus Jim Everett. Gosh, they had some guys on that. Flipper Anderson, Henry Ellard, Kevin Green. That was, and most of the time the 49ers always beat the Rams in the playoffs back then in that era. But man, that's a throwback. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to next week. And like I said, a wild card weekend. 2 games that were kind of lopsided. One was really lopsided at the end. But the wild card games this year did not let me down. And like I said, hats off to Mike Tomlin. Congratulations on your time with Pittsburgh. You were a heck of a coach. I think it was just time for a change. And, yeah, you guys let me know what you think your picks are. Get them into me. You can find me at Stevie Fly on Facebook or email me at the final score 7399@gmail.com. I'm looking forward to next weekend. I'll be off Sunday, so I'm going to be popping in here probably live Saturday night maybe and Sunday during the day. So be on the lookout for that. Follow me on Facebook. Send me a friend request and any messages. You can send me a message. I'll respond back. But be sure to follow us and follow our Facebook groups, the Final Score Facebook and On the Fly Facebook. We've incorporated all of this stuff into my personal page because my personal page was monetized, and we want more followers, more likes, more views on that page. So if you get a chance, please give us a follow, send us a friend request, and give us a subscription on YouTube and anywhere you stream or listen to your podcast. Give us that 5-star review, guys. It's good being back. This is going to probably hopefully be a weekly thing. I'm going to try to do it during the offseason. I've got something I'm working on that some of you retro NFL fans will love. Talking about going back in time and going through a season week by week and talking about some names that we hadn't thought about in a long time. But that's something I'm working on for the offseason of football. Anyway, guys, going to get out of here. You guys have a great night. Thank you, Heels. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Robert, Austin. Thanks for the likes. JR, Johnny Robinson, my partner in crime of the Sports Objective podcast. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, my dear Watson, Caitlin, and Mallory over there, my dear Watson, Keith, and Heels. Thank you, guys. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week on the Final Score.